Alright, welcome to the Diary of a Mad Wrestling Fan. I have the promo skills of Jungle Boy, but my opinion, I think, is 10 times better than Dave Meltzer. So, let's go over this AEW Dynamite Main Event from June 22nd, 2022 that's supposed to make us want to buy this Forbidden Door pay-per-view. This thing was a shitstorm, okay? It was a complete clusterfuck. No other way around it. That's what it was. And I'm going to get into why I'm saying that. I mean, if you watched it, you probably already have that same impression. This is not the way you sell a pay-per-view. This was like a warning. This was like a warning to all the AEW fans to stay away from this pay-per-view because it might be the drizzling shits. I want AEW to succeed. I got the utmost respect for all these wrestlers, but at the end of the day, the past couple weeks of shows have not done a good job of selling this pay-per-view or making me want to buy it. And the ratings show that. The lowest ratings ever in the key demo for Rampage this past Friday, leading up to this AEW Dynamite. That should tell you something. The booking has been bad. The shows have been bad. The lead up and the build to this has been bad. They did not introduce these New Japan wrestlers properly. They didn't give this time to build. And this main event was just a complete clusterfuck. Now, if you are familiar with how the wrestlers operate and they call a match in the ring and how they work, they signal each other in different ways. One of the ways that they signal each other is to let each other know that you're supposed to reverse it. It's time for you to reverse this, or it's time for you to reverse it in this next spot that we're about to do. For those that don't know, the way they do that usually is to tap someone twice. They tap them twice, they squeeze an arm twice, but that's how they let people know in the match that this is where you're supposed to reverse this move, or you're going to have to do a reversal in this spot coming up. And they do it. Most of them are really good at this, and you can never tell. You can never spot them doing this. But you could spot this stuff. You could spot the stuff Jericho was doing in this main event a mile away. Even an untrained eye. Even a casual wrestling fan who may not know the ins and outs of how these wrestlers work could probably see that something was weird about this match. So, there's two spots in this match where Jericho is obviously signaling to Tanahashi of what he's going to do. There are two spots in this match where Jericho is going to attempt or put on the walls of Jericho on Tanahashi. Now, the first time he does this, he lets him know this is the reversal spot. This is the spot where I'm going to try to put you in the walls of Jericho, and you're going to reverse out of it. So he gets him in like a grip where he's got him in like a tiger bomb type position, a pedigree type position where he underhooks both arms. And while he has him in that position, he very obviously and noticeably lifts his hands way up in the air while he's got him hooked, and he taps his back twice to let him know you reverse this spot. This is really bad on Jericho's part. Jericho is a veteran. He knows what he's doing. I mean, is he doing this on purpose, or is he just lost his edge that much that he's doing it this openly? You can see it a mile away that he's smacking his back twice to signal him to reverse this move. He could have done it a lot better than that. He could have simply used his fingertips to tap him twice to let him know to reverse this move, so it didn't look so obvious, but he just went full out with his tap, and it looked really bad. After this, so he gives him that signal. He goes to put him in the walls of Jericho right afterwards, and Tanahashi reverses it because he got the signal to reverse it. Into the roll-up, Jericho kicks out. Now, right after that, Jericho again does some crazy wide-open signaling to Tanahashi. So Tanahashi's standing up in the middle of the ring, just standing there looking at Jericho. Jericho is leaning up against the ropes, and what he does is he brings his arm up in the air, and he like pumps his arm a bunch of times, like to signal to Tanahashi that he's going to come off the ropes and hit him with an elbow or hit him with a forearm. And he just, it's obvious, it's plain as day. He lifts his arm up and holds it out and starts like waving it in the air, pumping it up and down, so Tanahashi knows what's coming next. And then he runs off and hits Tanahashi with his arm. Really bad job by Jericho here in these spots. Just, you could see through them. You're not supposed to see through it. It's supposed to look real. It was a very bad job by Jericho. Which leads me into this whole main event being a warning not to buy this pay-per-view. Possibly. Because if the language barrier is that bad where Jericho has to signal this much to feel good that Tanahashi knows what he's about to do to him, that's a bad sign. Is that how the pay-per-view is going to roll out with the Japanese guys? Is the language barrier going to be so bad that we're going to see a lot of bad matches or a lot of bad spots or a lot of botches on this pay-per-view? Hopefully you're not. Hopefully they're going to go and rehearse these matches over and over again, and they're going to be good. I would expect them to do something like that. But it's kind of like, you don't know, because they did such a bad job the past few weeks to build this pay-per-view, and then you have this main event, which is just dog crap. I mean, how can you take it as anything but a warning sign to maybe stay away from this pay-per-view? And I'm an AEW fan. I'm an AEW supporter. I want them to be good. I want there to be something besides the crap that WWE gives us, because it's been horrible for years. I want AEW to succeed. Okay, I've bought every AEW pay-per-view since the promotion started, except for one. And now probably two, because I don't think I'm getting this Forbidden Door pay-per-view. I'm a wrestling fan. I might be stupid and throw my money away anyway. But it looks to me like, we should avoid this pay-per-view. It's not going to be good. It doesn't look like it's going to be good. Based on this main event alone, it doesn't look like it's going to be good. So, in this crap of a match, you have Jericho signaling very obviously in the match for Tanahashi because there's a language barrier or whatever the problem is, and going through these spots. Then, later on, everyone in this match apparently seems to lose focus and forget where they're at in the match and get their timing all wrong. Whenever Jericho gets Tanahashi in the walls of Jericho for the second time, he's got him in the middle of the ring. Tanahashi's just in the hold, not really selling anything, which doesn't look good on Tanahashi. He's supposed to be one of the best in New Japan. He's not even selling this move. He's just holding his arm in the air like he might tap out, but he's not doing anything. He's not really doing any selling. Nothing in this spot is captivating anyone watching this match. Like, oh God, is it over? Is Jericho going to win? Nothing is happening. They're just in this spot in the middle of the ring, just sitting there. And they sat there for like a minute with nothing happening because people lost their spot. They lost their spot in the match. They lost their timing. So as Jericho's going into the spot, and maybe he did it too early. Maybe it's Jericho's fault. I don't know whose fault it is. Lance Archer just does something to Moxley. So Moxley's out. Moxley doesn't know where he's at. Moxley doesn't know it's his time to get up and break up this Walls of Jericho submission. He's lost to the point that they're in this hold for so long. You see in the bottom of the screen, Sammy Guevara ends up running from the other side of the ring all the way over to the other side of the ring to wake up Moxley and get him to break up this move because they're lost. Moxley doesn't know he's supposed to go break it up. They're just sitting in this hold, and they have to have another heel and Sammy Guevara run all the way to the other side of the ring to get Moxley up to break up this move. It was a complete clusterfuck of a main event. These guys just didn't work well together. I don't know if they just came up with this on the spot, if it was last minute booking, what the problem was, if it was a language barrier, if Jericho went into the move too soon. I don't know what happened, but this whole match was a shit show. And then it gets even worse. So after the match is over, you have just this big group of people from New Japan and AEW all run out, heels and baby faces. You can't tell who's who, and they all just start fighting each other. All around the ring, all over the place. Meanwhile, the spot that's supposed to sell your main event for this Forbidden Door pay-per-view between Moxley and Tanahashi to decide your new interim AEW World Heavyweight Champion, they're just standing in the ring staring at each other, and they're staring at each other for 2 minutes. Legitimately 1 to 2 minutes, maybe longer. I don't know. It felt like forever. That's my point. They were staring at each other forever, awkwardly, with Tanahashi trying to make some kind of grimace, angry-looking face, but it looked like he was just smiling at Moxley, is what it looked like. And at the same time, there's all this fighting going around the ring around him. Nobody in the crowd, none of the fans right there ringside in the camera, were even looking at Moxley and Tanahashi. They were looking to the right or they were looking to the left at all these people who they don't know who the heck is who and what's going on, fighting with each other. And then they would come back every now and then to look at Moxley and Tanahashi staring at each other. It was horrible. It doesn't make me want to buy this Forbidden Door pay-per-view. I don't know how we could make anybody want to buy this Forbidden Door pay-per-view. They did such a horrible job the last couple of weeks with their shows. Their ratings are super low. Who knows what the ratings are going to be for the go-home show. But the ratings have been down. And then we get this. And then we get this horrible main event. Jericho signaling a mile away. people missing their spots, Sammy Guevara having to wake up Moxley to break this up, and then Moxley and Tanahashi just staring at each other in a very awkward moment that goes on for a couple minutes before we finally cut off the air. It was really bad. Really bad. And I just don't see how this is going to sell purchases of their Forbidden Door pay-per-view. I don't see it.